Hello, and welcome to this part of the series of excerpts from a live webinar hosted by CPS in April 2020. These topics focus on supporting instructors new to online teaching and learning. The 4 topics covered have been separated into individual videos for your convenience to view. Part 3, Darin Detwiler from Professional Programs is going to share about the instructors versus out-of-class student work and scaffolding engagement.
Building on what Joan talked about in terms of simplicity and organization, and what Sarah was talking about in terms of that, you want to have that engagement, but you want to have students have confidence in terms of what are they doing and when are they doing it and what mode should they be in. I want to first really quickly talk about the difference between faculty instruction and out-of-class student work. And this pertains to online just as well as it pertains to on-ground teaching, in that, faculty instruction is that collection of activities or items where an instructor or a program has developed the material and is being presented or shared with students. Examples include, but are not limited to, assignment instruction tutorials, lectures, including guest lectures, which could be live or pre-recorded, lecture material, even LinkedIn learning modules that are assigned by a professor, live class meetings that are not necessarily about putting out new information, new content, but it could be helping students prepare or debrief after an activity. And even PowerPoint presentations, perhaps with voiceover or video over narration, could be examples, again, of this idea of different faculty instruction. On the other hand, we have out-of-class work. This is differentiated from faculty instruction as it involves independent student actions, such as assessments, discussion board participation or discourse, readings and viewings, the work in terms of research and writing that students are doing. Again, it's not so much hands-on faculty facilitated. It may be directed or assigned, but not necessarily the introduction of new material or as involving the faculty as would instruction be. Again, there's other examples that could be seen here, but I think if we're very clear about what mode we're in, we're meeting as a class to focus on this, or we're meeting as a class to focus on this type of work. If you can go ahead and forward the slide to my last one. This is one way of looking at how this kind of plays out. And I want to preface this by saying that this is not the only way to do this. This is not a prescribed way or an expected way. But there are certain patterns that could be found when you kind of look at the aggregate of all courses. Throughout the week, there is a bit of out-of-class work. That could be the reading, research, writing, even teamwork. There's the faculty instruction, and that could be synchronous or asynchronous. There's discourse, and this could be primary, secondary, or tertiary posts within discussion boards, even involving KWL. What do you know about this already? What do you want to learn? And then after a lecture, what did you learn? And finally, some type of formative or summative assessment. Even if there's nothing more than the discussion boards, which could be looked at as a formative assessment during that week. And then there's some weeks where you might have a larger assignment, a test, an exam, a paper, a case study, whatever that is due that week. So looking at the idea of these are the different, and there could be other categories, but these could be seen as the main categories of activities are going on during a week. What I recommend is that you're very clear, that instructors are very clear with students. This type of work right here is considered the out-of-class work, and it's due by this date, or you should be working on it these days. This is the instruction part. This is where we're looking at discourse. Because it's not the same as, oh, I just show up to class at 5 o'clock on Tuesday night, and as long as I've got my reading done in advance, that's all I have to do. It really involves this idea of what are they doing throughout the week to prepare for faculty instruction or to extend, beyond faculty instruction. If we kind of continue on this in terms of looking throughout a course, we can look at the idea that, again, this is kind of a general aggregate look. Within a course, you have an introduction phase, some engagement, some formative assessment, and then feedback. That might repeat itself over and over and over again. And at various parts throughout a course, you'll have, again, engagement pertaining to a summative assessment that also involves feedback. And you may have more than one. But the idea of clearly communicating to students, when we are doing these things, what mode we're in, and this also helps them in terms of planning their time management. What are they doing this? Do I need to read this stuff Monday or Tuesday before class on Wednesday? Giving them some cues. And I think others, including Corliss Thompson, who's on the call here, would also suggest that this also plays a role in terms of instructors' time management. When are you having this assessment, and afterwards, are you scheduling time for you to do the grading and provide that feedback? Because we want to have effective and timely feedback. So is this feedback going to be given to students before they go on to their next paper? Is the feedback adequate? And one of the things that I see often from students in online and on-ground courses is a complaint in that they have a summative assessment at the end of a course. It's due at the very end, like Saturday, midnight, the last Saturday of the class. And they never get feedback. They just see their final grade and whatever is there. Making sure that you're scheduling these assessments at times where you're providing for enough time for the grading and feedback such that it makes sense within this constraints. Again, and a lot of these things pertain to on ground or online. There's no one way of doing it, but I think that if we look at trying to scaffold our week and scaffold our course, and look at how we can communicate to students in terms of what mode they're in. I've seen instructors even color coordinate. When they talk about out of class work, they use one color. When they're talking about discourse, they use another color. When they're talking about instruction, they use another color of font or background. Whatever it is that works for you, I think that amount of clarity that we could use in terms of what we are doing, when we are doing this, why we are doing this, and what a student should be doing independently or with a faculty, it helps in terms of not only the flow of the course, but also lowering that apprehension level, which is part of wellness that Kristen Lee is going to talk about, and I'm going to hand over to her now.
Thank you, Darin. These will really help us. Don't forget to check out the other parts of this series.